So onto the stage in this men's 77 kilo class, the first man from Nauru, Yukio Peter, 143 kilos to start. The world record, 173 kilos, just to put the measure on this championship. But at the top end, there are a lot of men who've entered totals of 360 and 380, and this could be quite competitive tonight, David.
Yes, it's interesting. It's the first time I've seen this man lifting as a 77 kilo lifter. He's right at the top of the Commonwealth rankings with a personal best lift of 156 in the snatch. So it's interesting to see him not looking that impressive on 143. This is one of those classes I really wouldn't want to call, Dave. 7 out of the 11 competitors in this weight class are down at 360.
But that makes it unpredictable, which hopefully makes it exciting for not only ourselves, but every one of you at home. Thanks very much again for your emails. As you see the world records there, Filiminov, Perepechenov. Now, if you're wondering where Perepechenov is, he's actually moved up to 85 kilos, so he'll be on tomorrow live on Eurosport. So something to look forward to there. Of course, the other big absentee, of course, is the very talented Turk, Taner Sagir, the Olympic champion, the European champion, the junior world champion, and Turkey at the moment under investigation because of a whole range of misdemeanors. And in fact, I think it's the 15th. There's an IWF executive board meeting here in Qatar to discuss the Turkish situation. So that would be Tuesday. So we'll bring you information if we're given it. The IWF may well decide to continue their inquiries. We don't know whether there'll be a final decision on some of the complaints, shall we say, that have been brought against the Turkish Federation. But here's Sergio Martinez for Spain, 25 years of age, weighed in at 76.09, so he's towards the light end of the scale. Martinez, 5th in Europe this year with a snatch of 152.5 kilos. And currently ranked 12th in the world. But encouraging, I think we saw Casado last night, encouraging to see the Spanish men beginning to come through.
Yes, and this man's got a brother in the 94 kilo class, I believe, as well. So there's
Santiago,
yeah, a couple of them in here, yes. Not a bad start. Bit short on the pull.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't textbook, but plenty of strength to make sure that he locked out and did the job, so gets a score on the board. So of course Qatar, a really fast developing independent state on the Persian Gulf, with Saudi Arabia to the south and Bahrain to the west, and petroleum rich, gas rich, but already thinking of the years ahead, 20, 25 years from now, when a lot of those assets will be diminished, particularly the petroleum, and already building in a way following the model of Dubai. Lots of apartments and holiday opportunities, because in the winter this part of the world, very nice, very pleasant, a bit too hot in the summer, a bit too humid in the desert, but the winter, I'm sure plenty of you have thought about going across to Florida in the winter. Well, this is another interesting alternative. Here's an interesting man, René Hoch for Germany, 27 years of age, entered a total of 350. That's what he's looking to achieve at the very least. Competed in Athens, but down in 20th place.
Yes, we said earlier, since the likes of Huster and Ronnie Weller, Germany are really struggling with their weightlifters now.
Yeah, basically, you look at young boys and girls, and the appetite isn't there.
It's a different system. It's a different. It's a whole different ball game now, because they've become westernized, and that's the problem.
No lift.
So Frank Mantek, the man who has masterminded over the years so many successes for Germany, struggling really to find the the talent. And it's, you know, it's great to see fantastic athletes, as we saw a little earlier today in the women's category, Pavina Thongsuk. But it's also a worry when the sport tends to get dominated by one or two nations, particularly China, Russia as a powerhouse, Thailand in respect to the women, but I think that's a healthy situation over there. Incidentally, Marcella, thank you very much for sending me an email. You wanted to know about the results of the B group in the women's competition earlier on. Now, we do have them. The only problem is, I thought I'd lost them under a piece of paper, but I've actually found them. You didn't say who you were after particularly, but I can tell you that the top total in the B group was 209 kilos, and that was Yesenia Solis of Colombia who produced that. But if there's anybody in particular you were after, then send me another email and we'll happily read that out. 204 for Natalie Woolfolk of the United States. 201 total for Monica Pichon of Colombia. Also 201 for Olympia Toka of Greece. And Puerto Rico, 202 for Solsiris Francisco. So it was pretty competitive at that level, but when you consider that the world champion total up 251 kilos, so 50 kilos ahead in a weight group of 63 kilos. So
no, 256 eventually. It's 116 along with that 140 clean and jerk.
Absolutely, 256, yes. So over 50 kilos better than anybody in the B group. So Yuki Opita now coming on for a 7-kilo increase here.
Yeah, as I said, I'm interested to see this man lift. #1 rank in my old weight class, and a man who will be looking at this as a stepping stone towards hopefully Commonwealth Games glory next year.
Now Nauru's an island off the northeast, well, it's northeast of Australia, became famous for phosphate, which was a valuable commodity, and it made a lot of people on the island very rich. But then they ran out of it, so they turned their hands to offshore banking and came under a cloud there for allegedly some of the dealings that were going on, and then more recently became a holding camp for refugees, particularly boat people trying to get into Australia.
When you think about the size of the island, though, I mean, weightlifting is now its national sport. I think it's something like 8 by 5 miles.
No, I don't think it's even as big. I think you can walk around it in 20 minutes.
It's got a population of around about 8,000 people, I think. Yet they're producing a lot of weightlifters.
Well, they focused on one thing.
Well, Marcus Stephen, who won, I believe, 3 Commonwealth Games golds and took some medals at the World Championship level, I think was the inspiration to the youngsters of Nauru.
Well, they were at one point going to host the World Championships in 2001, but that never materialized. Would have been interesting, but there were plenty of practical reasons why that didn't happen. Not least of all that it takes 5 hours by plane to get to a nearest a reasonably good medical facility. So God forbid anybody who'd gone to the World Championships, because you're taking hundreds of athletes and officials and everybody else, so whether it's appendicitis or an injury that happens in the championship, you've got to have the right level of medical support at hand to be able to deal with any eventuality, and 5 hours frankly was just too far.
So not practical.
No, practical, no. So if you want my opinion, it was a daft decision in the first place. There's Frank Mantek. Just saw him closest to you on camera.
Well, this man fell with 148, decided that it was technical, so has increased 2 kilos to 150.
Must be very frustrating for Frank Mantek. Someone who's had so much success with the likes of Ronnie Vella and Mark Huster. But, he's got people who want to do it, but he hasn't got those extra special athletes that make the difference.
Yeah, as I say, they don't have the. They were relying. I mean, Weller and Huster were throwbacks from East Germany, and they're just carried on, but they're not getting those young lifters coming through because of the change. I mean, when it was East Germany, they had lots of lifters because the incentive was big.
What do you hope? I mean, what incentive is there here in the United Kingdom?
Well, that's the point I'm making. Yeah. Now that Germany is essentially the same, you know, westernized in the same way as we are, they don't have any good weightlifters.
So this is Ali Herem for Iraq. He posted a total of 360, so quite interesting to see what he can deliver here. And that's a good start.
I don't remember seeing this man before.
No.
Weighing right on the limit, dead on 77. Yeah, manages that, just relaxed a bit in that low position, but managed to rescue it.
Yeah, I must say, David, I was looking and tracking back through all the records and the books and the databases, and I couldn't pick up anything. So if there is anybody out there that knows something about Ali Herem of Iraq, or representing Iraq, then drop us an email to question@weightlifting.de. That would be much appreciated. Some good men in this competition. Li Hongli representing China, also suggesting 360. Victor Guman for Slovakia. He'll find this hard, but Georgi Markov of Bulgaria, very interested to see him. And bit of an old warhorse, wise head, been there, done it, you know, successful at Olympic and European level and world level. So we haven't seen the best of Bulgarians so far at this championship. It'll be interesting to see whether he can pull something out for them.
Yes, and of course Abbas, who was originally Bulgarian, but of course was bought by Qatar.
Yes, in that $1 million deal that took, what was it, 8 lifters and Abaziev to Qatar.
That's better.
Good lift. And now
yeah, much more stable, that second attempt. Third attempt, I should say.
He did well there, because he did 145, then he missed the 150, but decided still to go to 152.5 and got it just right. So all credit to him.
152 is just about on his best mark. In fact, actually, he's done 152.5 at the last Europeans when the old regulations were still valid. But those are all history now. So Victor Guman. Over 30 seconds, so no time problems at the moment. 153 kilos now on the bar for his opener. This man showed a bit of promise. He's now 29 years of age, but 4 or 5 years ago showed a bit of promise, but hasn't really delivered.
Well, that's probably the best snatching I think we've seen today.
Yeah, it's a good opener.
Very comfortable.
153 kilograms.
Now the interesting point on him is whether he can keep this going and build on that. René Hoch coming somewhat lethargically onto the stage. Slovakia. Victor Gurman. They don't have too many lifters. They've got Tesovic coming later on in the championship, who used to be a real force, Martin Tesovic, but a man who's been plagued with back injuries, which is hardly strange in this sport, but sometimes you lose an awful lot of years. Well, that was the best of his three.
Yeah, did well there. Got it all wrong on 148, but then came back with 150, and as you said, best of the three on 153. So that's good.
And that's also David, why I like Frank Mantek, because I do think he's like Yakubu and you know, the very best of the coaches. He has this ability to really play a part in sorting out problems in a very narrow time frame. And that's, for me, a PB for him. A PB in terms of the competition stage, and the bar going to 155 now. No, there's only one Bulgarian in the lineup. That's Georgi Markov. And could be his turn on 155. And Markov,
well, he holds the world record, doesn't he, at 69 with a snatch of 165 kilos.
Well, that's right. He got an Olympic silver medal in Sydney in 2000 when he was runner-up to Galabin Boevsky. That was at, as you said, at 69 kilos.
But again, it's another Bulgarian that isn't on form, so it's not just. Well, it's not just one or two. It's the whole team.
Hold your horses. He hasn't picked the bar up yet.
No, but this is 10 kilos less than what he lifted a whole weight class lower.
Absolutely.
So even if he does the 165 at 77, he's still down.
Let's be fair. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It is, after all, the opening lift. He may have a different plan to the one in your mind. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think we should give the man a chance.
155 kilograms.
Yeah, he's been European champion on a couple of occasions. In Trenchin in 2001, in Loutraki in 2003. And he's also won the world title. Snatched 170 with a clean and jerk of 200 for a 370 total. Now, I think this man could be someone to keep on the right side of today. Sebastian Dojariu, the European silver medalist this year, snatched 160, 187.5, 347.5 for his total. Romanians, what we've seen of them here, have been well prepared. See the length of levers with his hands right out at the extremities of the bar.
Nice, yeah, solid.
Good lift.
Weighed in at 76. Is it 31 or 51? 51. 51.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Plenty of time before body weight becomes an issue.
Szramiak, Poland will be the next.
But Sebastian, 28 years of age, so this is his time. This year, next year, building up to Beijing. If he seriously wants to make a mark for himself, it's got to be over the next couple of years. Andrean Hovhannes for Armenia. He's 2 years older than the Romanian you just saw. What always worries me about the Armenians is that more often than not, David, they're a touch over ambitious.
touch.
No lift.
Yes, that didn't look like an opener, did it?
155 kilograms remain on the bar for Krzysztof Szramiak, Poland, first attempt.
Yes, that really wasn't going anywhere.
Pass, please prepare.
Still to start, of course, the local man from Qatar, and this man, Krzysztof Szramiak for Poland. Also on 155, you can see how tight it is. Krzysztof didn't get a total in the Olympics. The clean and jerk that let him down. So that's okay. Managed 160 in Athens.
Good lift.
And 155 in this year's Europeans.
55 kilograms remain on the bar
So he's
for Sufyan
picked up
Abbas,
where he left off, so to speak.
first attempt.
That's good to see. A little bit of spark. That's what we like. Just gives us an indication as to who's up for it and who's not. And the Poles not having a great time at the moment. The women struggling a bit, and that's always been their mainstay. But of course, they've got Agata Roble to come. Now, Abbas, formerly from Bulgaria, but this man, well, he brings a lot onto the stage. Runner-up this year in the Asian Championships. Only had to snatch 150 kilos there, but he's already a world champion. The year in which they moved from Bulgaria to Qatar, he won the world title in 2001 in Antalya with 162.5, 195 for a 365 total. But life has not been quite so good to him since then.
Good lift. 155 kilograms remain on the bar for
So,
Amelia.
it's,
Armenia.
By far the popular weight here. The only man we haven't seen at the moment is Li Hongli for China. Li Hongli,
Peter Nauru will be
winner
next.
of the National Games this year, and according to the information kindly passed to us, 170 was his successful snatch in the National Games. But more on him when we get to him. Now, back to Armenia. Of Hannes Amreyan. Silver medalist in Europe 5 years ago. 5 years ago, he picked up 160 kilos. Today, 155 is now looking like a big wall. And it's just gone a few bricks higher.
Yukio Peter Nauru, third attempt.
Just makes you wonder, David, some of the selections, some of the choice here. It's fine to say you've got to be competitive, you've got to be in the class, but how often have we talked in the opening few days about that sensible first choice?
Well, this man took a sensible first choice, 143, 150. Now going for 155. He's done 156. I saw him on the Commonwealth ranking list. Got a best snatch of 156, best clean and jerk of 196. So he's
Yeah. And he's
very good.
And he, you know, I mean, the Commonwealth Games again for him will be a major target.
Well, I'll tell you, that's. I'm surprised he did that. That was very good. First snatch was a bit sort of shaky, but see how your confidence can build when you pick the right weights. Now, if he'd come in higher, he may not have achieved that. Very good. Yeah, fantastic for a Commonwealth lifter, that. Good lifting. I'm impressed.
That'll be a marker for a few lifters out there who are thinking of Melbourne next March.
Well, I don't think he's... no one's going to challenge him. Not at this Games, anyway.
There's Paul Coffer.
I think with Marcus Stevens, actually. I think they're both
Yeah.
coaching. A little Marcus Stevens looking a little heavier than when he was a lifter. The good life.
Moves up. 156 kilos on the bar.
So just one man to start his challenge.
Iraq, second attempt.
And I think the bar's gone to 160, and still Lee Hong Lee. We haven't seen him, but we can only presume.
I'll be surprised if it's gone to 160.
Well, 156, sorry.
Because the Armenian was nowhere near on any of those 55s.
Sorry, I was 156 for Hedham. The first attempt was good. This is a 5 kilo increase.
Yeah, he was just a bit, just relaxed a bit in that low position. So it'll be interesting to see if he can correct that this time. That's better. That's more like it.
Good lift. 156 kilograms on the bar.
سنتين
Poland, second attempt.
ايه الحمد لله.
Coach is happy, and so they should be.
Just wonder
Stop, please.
how and where this man gets his training in, given
56 kilograms.
everything that's going on in Iraq.
Hovhannes Amirian, Armenia.
So this man, 2 failures on 155, decided to go up a kilo, buy himself a bit of extra time. So has to get this to stay in the competition.
Care to put a wager on his chances?
Not good. But you never know. Oh, well.
No lift.
Well,
As you say, a little bit too ambitious and almost dislocated that elbow.
158 kilos on the bar, please.
well, at 30 years of age,
Victor Guman.
he's turned the corner, and I'm afraid he's going the wrong way now. But again, I think the coaches and they came to the wrong conclusion.
Dogari, please prepare.
Well, there's Mr. Cool.
Look at my bicep.
Lee Hong Lee.
I think he's got aspirations of being a bodybuilder. He's in the wrong sport.
Victor Guman for Slovakia. Now, we were on 156, weren't we?
Yeah, he looked good on his opener with 153. He looked impressive. Now we're at 158 now.
158, sorry.
Yeah, he looked good. Well, he's got another go.
For Guman. 158 kilograms. Second attempt for Krzysztof Szramiak, Poland.
Well, I wonder what Lee Hong Lee is doing. I mean, he was looking quite cocky sitting there in the chair. Is he going to let all these men lift out and then just come in for one lift?
Well, he's posted at 160,
so we're not far away, actually.
so he could be coming in shortly.
You'd think it, just the way things are unfolding at the moment, you would think that on the basis of what we were talking about, think about winning the class first and foremost. So it would be appropriate to get a score on the board pretty soon. So 158 for Szramiak of Poland. Better than the first one. Very good.
Very nice.
Good lift.
76 kilos, 76.15, so he's light in terms of his relationship to his opponents. And there's a sense of well-being about this young man. And he is only 21, so Polish men's weightlifting, like all countries, needs new talent coming through. This is certainly one man who has years on his side to make his mark. Guman looking a bit troubled.
Just looking at his hand, and I'm wondering if he's also torn a callus on these new bars. Carbon copy, so he stays on 153.
No lift.
Well, he was an outsider anyway. He's now really got to think about his own personal battle. There won't be any medals coming his way, I'm afraid. It is an interesting point. We talked about it during the women's competition. Is it absolutely necessary to have a spanking new bar? I know it's nice to have something that looks good. You know, that's the right way. You should have smart weights and smart equipment and everything else, but is it quite necessary to have something which is that new that actually you cut your hands on it? Right. Mr. Li Hongli for China to open up here on 160. Weighed in at 76 kilos, 81. He's been second in Asia, third in the world. And this is his strong phase, David. Twice at the World Championships, he's won the snatch. He won it in 2002 and 2003, but he didn't end up as world champion.
60 kilograms on the bar. Georgi Markov, Bulgaria, second attempt.
He's very happy with himself, that's for sure. He leads the snatch phase, but has he improved on the clean and jerk, or does he continue to need to build the kilos here to give himself a cushion for the clean and jerk? Clean and jerk, recent times, national games, well, he did 197.5 kilos in the national games. Good job by Markov. Keeps himself there. One more attempt to go.
160 kilograms on the bar. Sebastian Dogariu, Romania, second attempt.
Not quite as chiseled as he was at 69.
Abbas, please prepare.
Now, Dogariu also going up 5 kilos. Now, Dogariu weighed in at 76.51. Markov scribbled over my mark. What was Markov's body weight? 76.94. And Li Hongli 76.81. So Dogariu, the lightest of these three. good lift.
Good lift.
Yes, and still one to come.
Is the weight. Soufiane Abbas, Qatar, second attempt.
Yeah, there's something about this man that tells me, as I said right from the beginning, stay on the right side of him. He could be a player here for overall medal honours today.
9th place winner of the Athens Olympic Games, Soufiane Abbas from Qatar. Rambia,
Well, plenty of support, as you would expect, for the man who represents Qatar these days, Soufiane Abbas. Also treading this path of a 5 kilo increase. Now, he weighed in at 76.55, which incidentally is just heavier than Dogario. So again, Dogario's just got the edge there. But at the moment, it's all about lifting successfully to keep himself in the competition. Now, I've no doubt that he's got the strength to lift that, David.
So nip and tuck, isn't it, in this class? It's so... must be a nightmare for the coaches.
Well, they all know, they've all seen it for 4 or 5 days now since the entry lists and the body weights and the entry totals were put in. They've all known that this was going to be a competition where, you know, you can't really afford to make a mistake. You know, now he's in a situation where he's really got to go for 160 again and not bother about what everybody else is going to do. But as you can see from that graphic, there are a lot of people out there with lifts. Now, they may not all make their third attempts, but he's got to put that out of his mind, and he's got to say, I've got to get 160 to, you know, stay with the class.
That's right, you can't really afford to stay down on that 155.
It will just make life so hard. I mean, he is a man who has clean and jerked 195 kilos. Not this season, though, not in competition.
If you look at the main scoreboard, you can see that what the competitors have.
Li Hongli. Well, there's a big television in the warm-up area there. I'm happy. Things are going okay. I'm watching them like Humpty Dumpty fall off the wall. I'm cool with 160.
And I'm sure the spirits in the Chinese camp must be pretty high after the last few days.
I mean, they're by and large giving an exhibition of weightlifting to everyone who they come up against, but they found their match today, earlier this afternoon, with Pathina Thongsook of Thailand. I said she might be my, well, she is at the moment certainly my female athlete of the championships. She might end up by being my athlete of the championships, man and woman, but we'll have to wait and see about that.
That's better.
Good recovery. But 160 is as far as he can go. Of course, there is a certain Hossein Rezazadeh, the Olympic super heavyweight champion. We've always wanted to know whether we could get to 500. Everybody wants to know whether we could get to 500 kilos.
I don't think so. That's my opinion. I think if he was going to do it, he'd have done it by now. He's on 472, 500 kilos. That would be what, a 225 snatch and a 275 clean and jerk.
So 2 out of 3 for the Iraqi at the moment. Can he make it 3 out of 3?
Yes, of course, weighed in at 77, so right on the limit, hence the extra kilo.
So that leaves him on 156. The competition just beginning to take shape now.
Krzysztof Szramiak, Poland, third
As I said, quite a few out there with their third and final attempts, but Abbas, when he got the 160, he knew that there's a big chance that not too many of them would run too far away from him. That's why it was so important for him to keep there for the home fans. Now, Krzysztof Strzymiak, 161. This will be a new PB.
He's looked good so far.
Have to say 158 was already, but this would be even better. Come on! Oh, great recovery.
Wow, it was a press out.
Do you think so?
I think he knows it.
Yeah.
I think he knows it.
I just thought from that bottom position, I was looking at the bottom position rather than looking at the arms, which you were looking at, and I just thought that's a...
Well, you'll see clearly on the...
Yeah, no, it is. You're
ring.
right. You're right. What a pity.
Well, if you got away with that, I'd have been asking some real questions about the refereeing and the jury. I don't think we're going to see it from this angle.
No, you won't. It's the wrong angle for the replay.
163 kilograms is the weight for Georgi Markov, Bulgaria.
Having said that, he is on 158, so, I mean, he's not completely out of it because of that 158, David. So now Georgi Markov.
Dogariu will be next. If he is successful with
So the bar's increased.
163. This is less than what he did in the 69 kilo class. So clearly not in the best shape.
But irrespective, it does keep him very much in the overall medal hunt. Forget about the past, it doesn't matter. What matters is now, on this stage.
It's not there for the Bulgarians at the moment, is it? I don't know what don't know why, but the whole team just you know, maybe they've got a longer range plan.
But he's on 160. You can see the hips are well behind there, and you can't chase the bar like that.
third attempt.
So as you can see, he's third at the moment, but here comes Sebastian Dogariu for Romania.
Wait a bit.
And I'm not sure if is it still, yeah, it's still 163 still 163. Yeah, they're just cleaning off the bar.
Well, this would be great. This will guarantee him silver medal. But I think he's got the silver medal, hasn't he? He's weighed in at 76.51.
Yeah, which is light.
So he's already got that.
But it is last. It would mean that Hong Lee would at least have to go to 164. Yeah. So time aplenty. Just needs to master the technique. I'm feeling confident. Certainly feeling hopeful.
Nice.
Well done. 3 out of 3. Just what we needed.
And Dogariu confirmed his leading position.
So Dogariu takes the overall lead in the competition.
Interesting, bar going to 65 again. You see a kilo more than what he actually needs to take the gold medal.
Obviously feeling mega confident, but also, David, remember what I said early on. Traditionally, when you go back and you analyze Lee Hong Lee's performances, the strength, has always been in this first phase. This is where he's built his kilos and given himself the platform by which he's actually achieved, you know, silver at the Asian Championships in 2004, a bronze in the World Championships in 2003. And he may have won the national title just last month, but this is the world stage. This is where he's really got to prove it, and he's yet to really do that. So Li Hongli, 165 to take the snatch gold and to give himself a 2 kilo advantage going towards the second half. And remember, he's still got a third attempt.
So it's gold for China.
Now he's got to take this third attempt, David. Can't rest on his laurels here.
No, as you say, weaker in the clean and jerk, so he's got to make the best of this phase.
Because a lot of failures. You've got Markov on 160, Abbas on 160, but both of them potentially dangerous in clean and jerk. Dogariu, of course, 163. So the big question here is judgment.
Doing exactly that. He's going for 170. So trying to put a bit of distance between him and the rest of the field.
Well, he's done it. He's been there. But this is, you know, 160 was very comfortable. 165, solidly there. 170. This is now big. This is a serious question. The world record, of course, 173 for the snatch. But no chance, obviously, of getting near that. No interest in getting that. That would be Sergei Filimonov's record. Quite know how important this is. We think it's very important. He's taking his time. So third attempt. About 30 seconds. But this is right on the mark, so is he strong enough? Will he get the technique right? Focus on the moment. The door is open for the others.
Yes, that could be very, very costly. Still, you've got the gold on the snatch.
But he's only 2 kilos ahead of Sebastian Dogariu of Romania. He's only 5 ahead of Georgi Markov. He's only 5 ahead of Sufyan Abbas of Qatar. So all to play for, and it looked tight. It's still tight. So there. 152 kilos. Good recovery on the third snatch there. And he's looking for a total of 332. So this would take him to 222.
322.
322, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, so looking for 180.
So he needs this and then another 10 kilos to achieve his target. Total achieved. And 2 increments of 5 kilos and he'd be there on his target.
170 kilograms.
So just a little while as 1 or 2 men strive for their personal bests and their targets. Not everybody can go for medals. Stepping stones on the road to greater things. That will be what Mr. Martinez has got in his mind. Likewise for Victor Guman, also opening on as you can see, 170. But
he was down to start at 175, so perhaps his warm-up hasn't gone quite as expected.
Well, the snatch, if you remember, he went for 158 twice, failed on it, so he's down on 153. So he's coming from a low base here. So maybe just being a little conservative here to make sure they get the total first and foremost, and then try and develop it a bit.
I think that was a wise move, looking at that lift.
Good lift. 171 kilograms.
So the bar,
Second attempt by Victor Guman.
well, he's not going to take 171. He's definitely going to go for more than that. So he'll go and have a little rest and recover and think it through. This is where the coaches have got to be sharp, got to be able to see what everybody else is doing.
Martinez will be the next. Guman is moving up. 174 kilograms of the bar.
174 seems to be the next level that we're going to go to. And that would make sense because he's going to go for 174. It looks like Martinez wants at least 175. Hong Lee just beginning his warm-up. Doesn't inspire you with a great deal of confidence, does he?
No.
But to be honest, the only reason he was taking his time there was because he's got time. But you know, he's got 1 minute and 12 seconds, but that's not really what it's about. It's being mentally prepared to go up there and lift up this bar. Well done. I had my doubts, but he's answered the question and has one more chance now. I think he'll have a chance to have a little rest now, David, because I'm sure that certainly I'm pretty confident that Martinez is going to come in for 175.
I'm pretty sure as well.
So that will help him a bit.
Give him a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also move the competition on a bit quicker as well.
If you're wondering about the flickering board in the background that you see, that's purely a lack of synchronicity in the electronics. Now Martinez, 175, surely.
Yes, all the reds in the collar. 3 reds on each side, 25 kilos apiece, the bar 20 kilos, and the collars 2.5 each. Beep, 30 seconds.
The platform.
It's quite a good shot, that, showing the hook grip.
Apóyate a los talones y empuja.
So just 5 kilos to go, David.
to reach his desired, or entered total, I should say, of 3:32. And it looks as if he could get there. 3:32, though. That would only put him, David, on the same mark that he had in the Europeans earlier in the year. So you could say that we're just a little disappointed that he didn't find an extra couple of kilos in the snatch phase to allow him to surpass that. At 25, if he's going to be more than a player in Europe, then he's going to have to find another 10, 15 kilos sooner rather than later. But it is the beginning of the new cycle of the Olympiad going forward to Beijing. So, as you say, some people, they have a different build-up pattern and plan.
So these guys in the very early stages of their warm-ups, as the snatch bronze medalist. 110 kilos on the bar, so a long way off at the moment.
So Guman going up for his third and final attempt. Quite interesting to have a weightlifting competition, David, wouldn't it? Like the poker competitions that are now on television, where you have an entry fee to go in for your category, and you have to put the money down, and winner takes all. Big pot. $1,000 entry, $10,000 prize. But it would change things.
Yeah, the only trouble is, though, that there'd be at least, out of these 11, there would be 8 that would know that they'd have no chance whatsoever, whereas a poker game is slightly different. Everybody's kind of got a chance in that.
But you hear where I'm coming from. I think that, you know, that weightlifting as a sport needs to be more inventive, more, you know, innovative.
Yeah, but you saw how long it took us to get them to change the 1 kilo rule.
Absolutely, but
I mean, it's I don't think that's where they're. I don't think the sort of commercial side is really where they're coming from, David. I think they like the sport the way it is. But I kind of agree with you. I think if you want somebody to move on, you've got to make changes. You've got to think of the spectators. You've got to make it as interesting as you possibly can. And I suppose inevitably, with all things, you have to move with the times.
And I also think above everything, not that I'm talking about sort of messing around with the fundamentals of the sport, but what I'm also saying is you've got to make it an attractive proposition for people to get involved in it in the first place. And,
well,
you know,
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about that. The sort of financial aspect. I don't kind of hold in with that. You know, personally, I think people should want to do it because it's something they want to do. I mean, when I did my weightlifting, it was because it was something I wanted to do. It wasn't because I thought I was going to make a lot of money. I think there are easier ways of making a lot of money.
That's a very good set of clean and jerks here by Sergio Martinez. Sorry to cut into your thought pattern there, but he deserves his moment there because he's done pretty well, and he's ended up on
3:30.
3:30,
so,
yeah,
which is around about what he posted.
So good effort by the Spaniard, but he's always going to find himself in pretty tough company. What's that, 178 in fact? So 3:30, yeah, 3:30.
Yeah, so he'd have needed another 2 kilos to kind of do the weight that he'd originally posted, but nevertheless, it was essentially 6 out of 6. I mean, I know he missed the 150, but he kind of ruled that out by going up and doing the 152.
So now Rennie Hock on stage for his first clean and jerk attempt.
He kind of did something similar, didn't he? Missed 148, but then was successful with 150 and 153. So he's kind of right on target, really.
Yeah, but he's 12 kilos below the leader and 10 kilos behind the man who's currently in silver medal position. That's where he's starting from. So he'd have to really pile on some weight here to get himself back into contention.
Lenkrijke und Druck. Steh. Jawohl. Jawohl. Prima. Jawohl.
Good lift.
So a better start.
Load about 183 kilograms.
Now I think the motivational side for young people needs to be addressed, because the initial attraction, David, I understand totally where you're coming from, but I think you obviously have to build a stairway to heaven, as I would call it. And heaven is obviously winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games, but along the way, in the world we live in, you know, for a vast number of countries, particularly those westernized countries, you know, you've got to be able to live, you've got to be able to pay your way. There aren't governments anymore that hand things out, and I think, you know, the Sports Internationally needs to develop a variety of products, not just the World or the Continental Championships, not one occasion per year, and that's all that anybody ever sees of weightlifting, or a couple of occasions. Yeah, I mean, it's another question. I mean, I've often raised the question, records are all very nice, but, you know, what we really want is a good fight. Therefore, how often could these men and women actually lift competitively, given that, you know, the requirement is not to break a record every single time?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've kind of got it from both ends now, because I'm still involved, and a lot of friends of mine are still involved in the masters weightlifting, you know, which sort of starts at over 35 and goes up to 85 plus. And the people involved in that absolutely love it. And you know, it's about the love of the sport, and yeah, I know what you mean. It's very difficult now, where you kind of draw the line between it being something that somebody does as well as their work, and something that somebody does because they want to win an Olympic gold medal. And unfortunately, in our country, very, very difficult to be able to do a sport like this and actually compete against the likes of China and Bulgaria and Russia, purely because you know, we're not in the same situation.
Well, a big setback there for Markov of Bulgaria.
And this kind of underlines what we're talking about. Bulgaria used to be such a strength in weightlifting, and this man, you know, has won world championships and has been a world record holder, but because of the unrest and the problems that they're having in Bulgaria, as you said a couple of days ago, it runs right the way from the top down to the athlete, doesn't it?
Well, if the systems and the management aren't there, there are always going to be problems with the coaching and then with the competition. But now, this is the man who really interests me, David. This is Sebastian Dogariu opening up his challenge in the clean and jerk.
Yes, at a fantastic snatch series, ending on 163.
He's only 2 kilos behind Lee Hong Lee, silver medalist in the European Championships this year, behind Sage Taner of Turkey.
Well, I think his best is around 187.5, so he's coming at 185, and he's looked pretty confident with that.
185 kilograms. Yukio Peter, Nauru, first attempt.
He's going to be up. He's going to have to be up under his best, because Markov has faltered, but there is still Sufyan Abbas as well as Lee Hong Lee, and I think we're going to see the best of Abbas in the clean and jerk. I mean, he's got the score on the board now, 185, but there are dangers out there. And here's Yukio Peter, 185 for Nauru.
Yeah, watching this guy with interest, because he's the number one rank in the Commonwealth. He's had a very good snatch sequence, finishing on 155, very respectable 155. I know he's got a best of 196 in the clean and jerk. So this should be fairly comfortable, and it is. Well, this man could be dangerous.
Take nothing for granted tonight in this class. It really could ebb and flow. So as you say, 155, it means that he's starting his challenge for the clean and jerk 10 kilos down in the overall total, behind Lee Hong Lee. But very interesting to see where's Li Hongli posted to come in for his opening clean and jerk?
190.
190. And he did 197.5 in the national games. Now that's not a huge differential there.
185 kilograms, Ahmedian Urbanes, Albania. First attempt.
So Soufiane Abbas, realizing that his time is going to shortly come.
Yes, I think I'm just counting those weights up. He's on 160 at the moment. Posted to come in at 190. So just going through tactics with the coaches.
This could be a day to get a score on the board. See, I think Dogariou's probably done the right thing, you know, putting that 185 in. If you go back to the snatch, David, he went 153, which seemed a bit modest, 160, 163. So very well measured efforts there.
But Marky Markov struggling. Managed to get 160, but first clean and jerk on 185 really didn't look good. And he's normally around 200.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, this theme of the Bulgarians not being up to their normal form.
Well sorted. Although the clean wasn't convincing at the end of the day, the second phase over the head looked strong and bringing all his experience to bear there to get the 185.
Interesting, when Abbas was sold, as it were, to Qatar, he was considered the second string, wasn't he, in the 77 kilo class?
Well, they all were. I mean, they were all you know, regarded as being it was one of those situations. You could say it was opportunistic. There are those who don't really like it. I mean, Qatar has acquired a lot of different nationals, Kenyan runners, all sorts of athletes in a very similar fashion. But basically, I mean, the situation in Bulgaria at that particular time was that there were, you know, a surplus, if you like, of talent in terms of representing the country. So the opportunity was there, and $1 million was the fee that was spoken of. Sounds a lot, but, you know, I mean, you're talking about, you know, sort of 8-9 people, including coaches. It's actually not a huge amount of money, but there was the opportunity to be on the world stage, on the Olympic stage, every single time. As Li Hongli not too far away, René Hoch getting ready to take his second attempt.
186 kilograms, Sebastian Dogariou.
I think Dogariou, David, in pretty good shape there. 76 kilos, 51. You know, that body weight is also helpful because he's underneath the weights of his major rivals.
Yes, he's in a good situation. So just another look at...
yeah, and it may well be that we're not going to see this man at all, and I think that's the purpose of that replay, just to show us that he's no longer part of the competition. So there were 12 before the competition started, then there were 11, now there were 10, and Martinez, well, he's lifted out, and Guman's finished, so that's from 10 down to, what's that, 8? And Abbas now, the bar's round about Li Hongli.
Well, there's going to be a lot of men coming in at around 190.
Yeah, 190 is going to be the really popular mark, isn't it? We've also got the man from Iraq. You just saw him there on the left there. That's Hovhannes Amrean. But now René Hoch. Well, very interesting. Yeah, concentrate. 187 on the board here for René Hoch. It's a 5 kilo increase on his opening effort. Again, this is a weight he's done, so. I thought the first clean and jerk looked good.
Yes.
René, komm.
Well executed, team effort. René Hoch, plus his coaches in the wings, calling the shots, supporting him, the drive up to get the clean, then the chuck overhead. Oh, a quick wunderbar.
He's had to work for it.
He's going to have to work a little harder for the third one. I've got a feeling they'd like him to go to 192.
Or 191, just to really sort of give him an opportunity of a medal if nobody manages to go further than 190. Unlikely, an outside chance, but worth a try.
Well, still, you've got Yukio Peter of Nauru, looked very good on his opener. That was a 185. You've got Christoph Stremiak in the pole. We haven't really seen him. Lee Hong Lee yet to start his challenge. You've got Dugariu. He's got his first marker down at 185. So, a lot of different things that can happen here. Now Markov, 189. Well, even if he gets this, David, he's not a player. Not today.
Not today, no.
Just heard the 30-second buzzer going. Last attempt. And
it's not happening.
Not happening. 185 to 160, 345. It's a pretty modest total when you consider you're looking at a man who won the world title in 2002 with 370, won the European title in 2001 with 367.5, and won an Olympic silver medal with 352.5, and that was in the 69 kilo category. So
just shows you, though, doesn't it, how important the state backup and having the right people in place is. Huge difference. A man that's done 370, been right at the top, right down on 345.
So we've got, just having a look at René Hoch there with 187, leading the clean and jerk now. Still got Christoph Simeon to come in. We've still got Lee Hong Lee, and here comes Lee Hong Lee. So opening on 190, predictable. Now, 190, so this is for 355. And of course, this would extend his advantage over Dugariu from 3 to 8 kilos. But of course, Dugariu's still got 2 lifts to go.
He hasn't got a, yeah, but this, that's right. I was going to say, providing he gets it, which he has done.
But how far can he go? That's the big question. We don't know to what extent he's managed to improve his clean and jerks, and how far can he be.
Well, I'm not sure that he needs to go that much further. I mean, I think if he gets another 5 kilos, it'll be very tough to beat.
But will he get another 5 kilos?
Time will tell.
We will see. Now, Christoph Simeon. This is interesting. 190 for his opener.
Yeah, snatched 158. Did that 161, but was ruled out for a press out.
So technically, this will put him into silver medal position because he will only be 7 kilos behind Li Hongli if he picks this up. Good clean.
It was awful. That second phase, he just chucked it forward, leaned away from it.
Again, at 21 years of age, I'm again somewhat surprised, given that he lifted 190 in the Europeans, that they didn't put an opening lift in at, say, 185, 187, 188, something like that, just to make sure, you know, to build the confidence and... So 190 to reduce the deficit once again to just 3 kilos. Now he needs this. This is the lift we really want him to make, David, because this, I think, is going to then we're going to see Li Hongli under a little bit of pressure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Yuku from Nauru actually goes for a medal on the clean and jerk. That would be something, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh, well, that's the first mistake we've seen him make.
Well, you could see if you looked at the first part of the clean there, you saw it on the first attempt as well. The drive up was not solid. There was a wobbly legs and not the way to actually give yourself the best chance. So now Degariu under real pressure, because that 8 kilo deficit behind Li Hongli. Li Hongli's chances now have improved massively. Peter Yokyo, though, for Nauru, well, 155, he's got 185. So he was 10 behind, he's 15 behind, so I could see him narrowing the gap, but not closing it.
I don't mean the overall. I mean on the actual clean and jerk.
Yeah. Now Simeon, who was awful in the second phase, as you said. No,
not this time.
Wrong call, David. They've got it wrong. They've misread it between them. The lifter has a say in it, but so do the coaches, and they've come in at the wrong opening weight for the clean and jerk. Should have gone for 185, I think.
Yeah, put him under unnecessary pressure.
I know it's the World Championships, but how are they going to feel if it's yet another Polish lifter who bombs out and doesn't get a total? Completely unnecessary. In there with a shout of at least the bronze medal. Li Hongli still sitting in the warm-up room on his chair. And also, remember, Sufyan Abbas hasn't appeared yet, has not taken his first clean and jerk.
Well, he's obviously coming in at more than 190.
Absolutely. And remember, he was on 160, so he's only 5 kilos behind Li Hongli. He's only 3 kilos behind this man in picture. So a medal for Qatar, even a gold medal, still a possibility. See, look at the stutter on the legs there. That's better, though. He's got the 190.
Well, he knew he needed that to stay in the hunt for the medals. He knew he had to get that 190.
Yeah, but he's the 190.
190 kilograms.
goes with his 163, so 353. And remember that Lee Hong Lee has got 355 at the moment. So the Romanians are happy. They think their man might have done enough. Well, he might have done enough for an overall medal, but we have to wait and see how the clean and jerk unfolds now.
Well, the man from Qatar will needs 194 to go ahead because he's
heavier.
He is actually lighter. So
yeah, he's lighter than Lee Hong Lee, and
so 193.
Yeah.
Eliminated on the clean and jerk. We'll see what happens here.
Just a minor point because of the lighter body weight of Dogariu. He leads the clean and jerk rankings, but he's still behind Lee Hong Lee in the overall. But here's Yuki Alpeta for Nauru with arguably a great chance now. But before him, there are others, including this man, Hovhannes Armenian of, I should say, of Iraq. I was getting confused with the Armenian who's retired. This is Ali Hariem. Now, 156 he's carrying forward. So all sorts of things are looking possible now.
Didn't look easy. Looks uncomfortable. Looks heavy.
Yeah, and it's
no.
And again, you've got to question the decision of the opening weight.
191 kilograms. Sufyan Abbas, Qatar, opening attempt. First attempt.
I'd have thought Abbas would have come in at 193. But 191, well, build, use your attempt.
I think that if you're the coaches and you're looking at what's happening around you, and you're saying, well, hang on a second, you know, let's
bronze medal, then silver medal, then go for gold medal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know that as soon as he puts this score on the board, he worries Lee Hong Lee and the Chinese.
So let's see how easy or how difficult this is. See if we can work out how much further he can go. He's done around 200. He's done over 200, I think. I think he's done 202.5.
What is it?
He's just going from memory.
He's consistent at 195.
Well, that was comfortable. Very, very solid.
Yeah.
And that sent out a message.
Yeah. Now you can see how important that 160, the snatch recovery, because that's 191, gives him 351 and counting. So, you know, you look at Lee Hong Lee, he's only 4 kilos ahead, but Lee Hong Lee heavier than Abbas. And Lee Hong Lee at 76.55, a little bit heavier than Dogariu, so he's still got a bit of work, a few kilos to go to move himself up into overall silver.
And this man's still got a bit of work to do to get a total. That first attempt looked very, very hard. It's better clean. Oh, well,
that bar is, I think,
all kinds of problems. All kinds of problems now. That was better than the first one, but it's when you've had 2 failures, and I think he's probably going to have to follow himself. No.
No, Rennie Hock. Rennie Hock coming in. I was saying early on that we were looking for Rennie Hock.
Well, you thought he was going to go around 190.
Stop the clock, please.
No, I was saying 192 actually. That they were going to go for the 5 kilo.
Krzysztof Szrambiak, Poland, third attempt.
So
Poland has bought themselves some time and increased the weight.
Li Hongli
holding on to his lead.
Doesn't look quite as cocky.
I think the only person with a real chance of overtaking him on the overall is Abbas. But on the clean and jerk, the man from Nauru has done some big lifts, so he's dangerous.
But how interested is it, David, that that 160 that Abbas got on the snatch to keep himself in the race? How costly might that failure at 170 be from Li Hongli, who didn't get those extra kilos? Should he have gone for 170? Should he have gone for just
66 or 167?
Yeah, just a couple of kilos. You just don't know. What we do know is that this man is odds against lifting this bar on the evidence of what we've seen. And that again would be, for me, a real pity, because they've got it wrong. Now, it's difficult to know who got it wrong, who was pushing to go in at this weight.
Just looks so heavy on the shoulders. Just doesn't look comfortable.
It's not. And that's, I have to say, David, that is a complete muck up there. And they've just been over-ambitious. They've been unrealistic.
192 kilograms on the bar.
And a man who could have easily walked away here with a total. I mean, he had 156, that he was carrying forward, which is not a bad amount of kilos to carry forward. And he's just thrown that all away.
So the man from Nauru, going to 192, which will actually put him into the lead on the clean and jerk.
Oh, I think they're Yuki Opita and the boys. This is a 7-kilo increase because he came in at 185. Intelligent.
Put him into third place on the overall as well.
Yeah, but intelligent start.
He's done 196. That's his best in competition. That's his Commonwealth record. So should be within his compass, this 192. And as I said, it's quite significant because it puts him into third overall and it puts him into the gold medal on the clean and jerk, and still with a lift to come.
Good drive. Come on. Oh. He's got one more attempt and he might just do it. He might just do it, David.
It's a shame because that's a waste.
Just think he needed to steady just a little bit, a fraction longer. That just all seemed just a little bit rushed. I know you don't want to hang around with the bar on your shoulders for that long, but didn't get it overhead.
No, it was just positioning. His hips were behind the bar again. You need to be underneath the weight to hold it. You can't be behind it.
192. Well, for once I got it right. I was reading Frank Mantek's mind. But this is where I think Mantek wanted to push him. That's part of it, isn't it? Your coach has got to instill belief. He's not going to be ridiculous as they were with the Iraqi lifter, but he's got to believe that this is possible. I think this is possible.
Well, it's a very probable medal on the clean and jerk.
He's only carrying 153 kilos forward because of the snatch phase, but I'll tell you what, bronze medal for Germany. We wouldn't have perhaps imagined that was coming their way.
I'd like to see him do this.
I think it would be terrific if he can do it.
New personal best. Now this is the bit. Oh, yes, stands well. Does it?
A very, very good attempt.
Superb. Puts him on 3:45.
Well, never mind the 3:45.
And he's actually lighter than the Bulgarian, so he goes ahead of Georgi Markov.
So 192 leads the clean and jerk rankings. That's an extraordinarily good effort and a really good sequence of clean and jerks, and Mantek can now have a beer tonight. He is a remarkable coach. Okay, the lifter does the work, but there's something about Mantek and Yakovu and one or two others. So, René Koch of Germany at the moment leads the clean and jerk, and you can see there are basically six attempts left out there. So this is fascinating now. Stremiak.
Well, he needs this to stay in the competition.
So is he going the same way as the Iraqi lifter? Remember, he went 190, 190. He's gone 193, which is to give him a total of 251? 351.
351, yeah. And to put him in the lead on the clean and jerk. But
yeah. But 351 isn't going to do the job in terms of overall medals.
better clean. Well, that was the best of the three, I'll give him that. But I'm afraid it's he's out of the competition.
Complete miscalculation again. Should have come in at around 185. It's easy for us to sit here in hindsight, David, but surely, to goodness gracious, you know, there's some bad assessments being made by coaches there today. Because it's not only looking at their own man, it's looking at the other guys that are around in the warm-up room, seeing what they're doing, and some bad calls have been made.
Well, this is what happens when it's so close. People panic. They start jostling for places. So 193. I'd like to see this man do this, because a medal from a Commonwealth lifter in this kind of field would be fantastic.
So it's just the 1 kilo more, and it could be a very important kilo.
Now he needs to take his time, which he does. Needs to hold. Well, that's the lead on the clean and jerk.
193 kilos to go with 155, which is
348.
348. So, but think who's out there? We've got Lee Hong Lee. We've got Abbas, Sufyan Abbas.
Lee Hong Lee, China.
It's so good when you see a lifter go and sort himself out. And there's nobody going to touch him in this weight category in Melbourne if he produces this sort of form, David, is there?
No.
He's going to be, well, quite frankly, it'll be an easy day. He will not have to push himself to this sort of level. So Paul Coffer knows that his man has got a medal, but now Lee Hong Lee. At the moment, he's got a 4 kilo advantage over Sufyan Abbas of Qatar. Both men have 2 attempts left. The bar up to 195. He did 197.5 last month in taking the national games title in China. He needs this. If he fails, the whole impetus of the competition moves to the local man.
Oh, well, it's anybody's competition now. I think Abbas is just going to wait. I think he's just going to wait and see what he needs. Who's your money on?
Well, I'm really disappointed that Degariou actually, because you've got Lee Hong Lee on 355, you've got Sufyan Abbas on 351, and Degariou is still on 353, so Degariou is still in the overall silver medal position as a result of all the failures, really.
You see, If Lee fails this again, Abbas needs 196 to beat him, which I think he'll do.
Stop the clock. Load the bar to 196 kilograms.
Well, 60 plus 191, he's on 251, 253, sorry, 351 to 3. I've only got 4 kilos between the two men. 355 versus 351. And the guy from Qatar is lighter than Lee Hong Lee, so he's only got to find 4 kilos.
That's true, but he's going 196 to put pressure.
Yeah, but he's, you know.
If he does this, Lee has to go 197 anyway. And he's just fouled with 195, so this we could be looking at the winning lift here.
Well, this was always the reality for Lee Hong Lee. Those 5 kilos in the snatch that he didn't get, and the 5 kilos that this man did get. And this whole championship is turning on those 2 snatch efforts at the moment.
And at the moment, we've got the man from Nauru leading the clean and jerk, and Germany in second.
Not for much longer, I don't think.
Oh, no.
How wrong can you be?
Oof.
You said right at the beginning, you said this is too close to call. I couldn't, you know.
196 kilograms for Lee Hong Lee, China. Third attempt.
So I would have gone, you know, I would have gone 195 and taken what I needed to get, because 195 would have put him absolutely level, because lighter body weight would have put him ahead of Lee Hong Lee.
Well, at least he's got the benefit now of if Lee Hong Lee fails with this, he knows what he needs to win.
Yeah.
196. If he succeeds, again, he knows what he needs to win. I think if Lee Hong Lee succeeds with this, he is the world champion.
So Lee Hong Lee,
196.
196.
If he succeeds with this, I think he's the champion. Because it will leave Abbas needing 201.
Right, but this is 1.5 kilos below what he lifted in the national games in China, as reported to us. 170, 197.5 for 367.5. That's what he did in China, but that's history. This is for the world title. We think. Can he do it? Can he do it?
So that now leaves Abbas deciding on 197, which will give him the gold on the clean and jerk, or 201. I can't see anybody taking this man now. But it also means that the Nauruan has either got silver or at the very least now the bronze on the clean and jerk. And if Abbas isn't able to go any further, Germany will have a medal on the clean and jerk as well. So a lot of twists and turns and changes in this.
So at the moment, in overall gold, we have obviously Lee Hong Lee. In overall silver, we have Dogario of Romania, and in overall bronze, we have Abbas of Qatar.
Bar's going to 201. Abbas has decided that he wants to go for the world title.
Couldn't do anything else on this stage, could he?
No. Well, he'll be a hero if he succeeds with this.
Well, has he got this in him?
He's in third place at the moment. 351.
So this would be 10 kilos up on that first successful attempt, and by virtue of his lighter body weight, he would take the championship if he can lift the bar up. 40 seconds and counting. Time, not a problem.
This would be a fantastic end to what's been an interesting, competitive 77 kilo class.
Well, it'd be interesting to see Rennie Hoch's face, wouldn't it? Because we know that if he fails this, Rennie Hoch gets that bronze medal in the clean and jerk.
And the Commonwealth lifter gets the silver, which is incredible, really.
Driven up, slides the hands out to make the chuck just that little bit shorter. He can't do it. He's left with overall bronze, and the championship goes to China. Li Hongli is the world champion for 2005 in the 77 kilo class. Dogariu of Romania takes the overall silver, with Sufyan Abbas for Qatar having to settle for third place, and as you can see bottom right there, missing out completely on the medals in the clean and jerk phase, with the gold going to Li Hongli, the silver to Yukiya Pita of Nauru, and an unlikely bronze going to a deserving Rennie Hoch of Germany. Well, what an interesting competition, so many twists and turns. And obviously